The screen fades in. A storm rages across a jungle valley, rain pounding against mud and steel. The sound of distant gunfire echoes in the dark. The camera pans slowly into the cramped interior of a forward operating base, where a single soldier sits at a radio, headset pressed tight, eyes wide but unblinking. A narrator's voice cuts through the noise, steady and cinematic. Not every hero carries a rifle. Some fight with nothing but their voice, and sometimes that voice is the only thing keeping a whole platoon alive. Private First Class Jordan Reyes wasn't a fighter, not in the way most imagine soldiers to be. He was a radio operator, a comms guy. His job was simple: send coordinates, call in support, keep the lines open. For some, it was the kind of duty that looked easy, a desk job in fatigues. But Jordan knew better, because the radio was a lifeline, and one night in the valleys of Kunar province, it became the only thread between life and death. 3 days earlier, it had started as a routine patrol. 30 men, spread thin along a narrow dirt road cut through jagged cliffs. They were supposed to recon, check in, and return by sundown. Jordan had been attached last minute to provide comms. He didn't argue. He never argued. Rain began as a drizzle. By nightfall, it was a storm. Thick mud dragging boots and choking the radio with static. That was when the ambush came. Explosions tore through the silence. Gunfire lit up the night. The valley became a cage of echoes, every shot bouncing back, disorienting. Men hit the ground, shouting over one another. In the chaos, Jordan dropped, clutching his radio like it was his weapon. "Base, this is Falcon Patrol, taking heavy fire. Grid 27 by 19. Request immediate." Static swallowed his words. Shrapnel tore the antenna. The line went dead. His heart thundered. Without comms, there were ghosts. No reinforcements. No medevac. Just 30 men cut off in a kill zone. Jordan ripped open his pack, hands shaking. Spare wires, damaged connectors. The rain seeped into everything. Around him, bullets snapped into the dirt. He should have been firing back. He should have been digging in. But his weapon wasn't his rifle. It was the broken box in his hands. The voice in the static. Hours bled together. Men screamed for medics. The lieutenant barked orders, his own voice cracking. And Jordan spoke into static. "Stay with me. Stay with me." He patched wires with chewing gum foil. He tore strips from his own uniform to insulate lines. He shielded the set with his body against the rain. Nothing. Just white noise and thunder. At one point, a bullet struck the dirt inches from his hand. Another man shouted, "Reyes, drop it!" But Jordan shook his head. "They'll hear us. They have to." And then a flicker, a crackle in the storm, a voice bleeding through static. "Copy. Falcon Patrol. Coordinates?" Jordan gasped. His hands flew. He pressed the mic to his lips, shouting over the rain. "This is Falcon. Repeat, taking heavy contact. Grid 27 by 19. Multiple wounded." The line cut again, but it was enough. Someone had heard, holding the line. The night stretched on. The patrol huddled in mud, fighting off wave after wave. Ammunition ran low. Wounded bled through bandages. The lieutenant slumped with a shoulder wound, his voice barely holding. And Jordan never stopped talking. Even when the line went dead, he kept speaking. Into the static, into the storm. He relayed positions, whispered comfort, begged the sky to listen. At one point, he heard nothing for over an hour. The men around him began to pray or curse or fall silent. Jordan pressed the mic tighter. "Stay awake. Help is coming. Just stay awake." And then, through the white noise, a miracle. "Birds inbound. 15 minutes. Hold your position." Jordan's voice broke as he repeated the words to the platoon. For the first time in hours, men smiled through the blood. 15 minutes. That was all they had to survive. The last push. 15 minutes was a lifetime under fire. The enemy surged one last time, knowing reinforcements were coming. Tracers lit up the sky. Grenades shook the ground. Jordan crouched low, shielding the radio as if it were a wounded comrade. The lieutenant, pale from blood loss, rasped, "Reyes, get down. That box won't stop a bullet." But Jordan just shook his head. "If the radio dies, we all die." He kept transmitting, voice raw. "Falcon Patrol, holding. Need medevac priority." And then the roar. Helicopters slicing through the rain. Rockets fired from the sky. The valley lit up in fire as reinforcements stormed in. The enemy broke. The patrol was saved. Back at base, Jordan didn't remember collapsing. He only remembered waking in the infirmary, his hands still cramped as if holding the radio. The official report was simple: successful extraction, multiple wounded, minimal fatalities. No mention of the man who had patched wires with foil, who had whispered into static for hours, who had refused to let the line go dead. Jordan went back to his desk, back to the shadows, another nameless, calm soldier. Until the day the lieutenant, still recovering with his arm in a sling, walked into the comms tent. He said nothing at first, just stood in front of Jordan. Then slowly, he raised his good hand and saluted. The room fell silent. Other soldiers turned, confused, saluting a private, but they followed the lieutenant's gaze. They saw Jordan, the quiet man at the radio, the one who wouldn't let go. "This man," the lieutenant said, his voice carrying, "kept us alive. Don't ever forget his name." The ceremony. Weeks later, Jordan was called into formation. He thought it was a mistake. His uniform was clean, his boots polished, but his hands still bore scars from wires and burns. The commander read aloud, "For extraordinary bravery in maintaining communication under direct fire and for saving the lives of his platoon." The bronze star was pinned to his chest. Applause thundered, cameras flashed, but Jordan's eyes drifted, unfocused, hearing only the ghost of static, the whisper of voices in the rain, the echo of his own words, "Stay with me, stay awake." The camera limbers on him standing alone after the ceremony, metal gleaming, but expression quiet, almost haunted. The narrator's voice returns, deep and steady. "Not every hero carries a rifle. Some fight with nothing but their voice, and sometimes that voice is the only thing keeping a whole platoon alive." The screen fades to black. The radio that wouldn't go silent.